boy band good looks.
Thanks. That's very kind of you.
Hello.
Ooh, awkward. Hi, I'm John. Today, I was lost, but then Matthew found me.
And I'm John, and I'll kill your friends and family to remind you of my love.
Whoa.
I'm not John, and they were two very contrasting introductions. The first one was because I went to start editing, and I thought we'd lost last week's episode, but it's fine. I've still got it. I think I'm 84% sure. And the second one was just murderous rage coming from our good friend John with an H.
It was actually coming from King George.
Well, you said it.
It definitely was not coming from Prince George.
No, I said King George.
I said it definitely was not coming from Prince George.
No, it wasn't.
I reckon I could take him if it wasn't high treason.
And this is Would John Rather, a podcast where I ask two people with John would they rather questions and they answer me. It's back to me asking questions after I had a storming week last week, which you almost didn't hear, might still not hear. We'll find out.
It was touch and go.
We'll find out in the past.
We'll find out. You'll be able to find out the answer to that question last week. So we'll dive right in.
Is this going to be one of those podcasts where you go, oh, to see what happens next week, if the guys succeed, turn to page 132. Ah, if you think the guys failed because they didn't open the door on the left, go to podcast 62. You just got to
Like a
bounce backwards and forwards.
Choose your own adventure. We could.
Yeah.
Oh, thinking that before. Well, I started Dungeons and Dragons ages ago, but I've not been in a while. But I could definitely teach you the basic rules, and we could do a Dungeons and Dragons podcast that's a choose your own adventure. Because I think you two would pick drastically different approaches to everything, and it would be hilarious. I'm sure we could.
The situation is a two-handed tank, not the best option.
Well, John would definitely be some sort of like cleric or rogue.
He'd be a merchant. Is that an option?
No, he wouldn't. He'd be a warlock. Anyway, this is all going over his head, and probably over like 70% of.
I'll choose my own character, thanks.
Exactly. For those of you that care, my character is called Brian, and every DM that I've played with has been so grateful that I've got a normal name for once. So, just picking at random. There we go. Would you rather be the world's best skateboarder or be able to cure all speech impediments by touch?
Can you repeat that? Because all I heard was or speech impediments by touch.
Okay. Would you rather or cure all speech impediments by touch?
So what? Like, you've got to open someone's mouth up, rummage around a bit, and then they stop stammering?
I deliberately didn't say the first thing again. I don't know if that was obvious. Would you rather be the world's best skateboarder or be able to cure all speech impediments by touch?
Skateboarder. Only because John had to wait for it, and I was going to pick it anyway because I knew it. So it's not that I want to be Tony Hawk. I just want to be a dick in this circumstance.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Now argue your point.
If I was actually a really good skateboarder, I think I'd be skateboarding all the time. I've got to go down a small hill to get from where I work to the main site offices. So it'd be very easy to get there very quickly because gravity would do all the work for me. And no one could tell me I was being unsafe by getting from A to B on a skateboard because I'd be the world's best skateboarder. So in a practical aspect, everyday life would be awesome. It wouldn't just be a fact of going to the X Games, pulling off a 900 and doing a McTwist over a cop car because apparently that's what you do on Tony Hawk Underground.
You could do that at work anyway with a standard office chair.
Yeah, but I'd be a skateboarder. I wouldn't have to resort to trying to do it on an office chair.
Okay.
Do you know what would be terrible about being the world's best skateboarder? So Tony Hawk is obviously really, really famous because he completed the first 900
He's not that famous because I read a blog post that Tony Hawk uploaded, and he said if he had a quid for every time someone thought he was someone else,
That's
or
because there's a
thought
famous
he was Tony
comedian.
Hawk.
That's because there's a famous comedian called Tony Hawk.
He got on a plane and he was getting his overhead luggage out, which consisted of a rucksack with a skateboard on it. He pulled out his luggage, and someone turned around and goes, "Huh, who do you think you are, Tony Hawk?" And he went, "Yes, that's exactly who I am." And there was another person that looked at his ID, and he went, "Oh, you're called Tony Hawk as well, and you look like him, but older." Yes, because I won the X Games in 2000. That was 18 years ago. I have aged 18 years since you probably saw me.
Also,
So-
just a sidebar, sorry. Very, very disappointing on the nerd front. Actually, I don't even think it's nerd. It's nerdy. Nerdish. We'll go with nerdish. That's Oddish's cousin from Pokemon. He'll be in Generation 9. That Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 or 2 isn't going to be on the PS Classic that's coming out next month. That's it.
Oh.
It's one of the staple games, I would have thought. But anyway, do carry on, John.
If I were a pro skater, I'd demand PlayStation to sort their act out, and I'd put it on there just for you, Matthew.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I wonder how much sway pro skaters have with the video game industry. Anyway, it would be really bad being a pro skater who was the first person to complete the 900, because do you know how old the first person who did the 1080 was? He was a 12-year-old boy. 12. You had like life achievement, and somebody's just shat all over it when they were 12.
What's his name?
What?
Come on, John. What's his name? How many successful console games, and skateboarding companies has he got under his belt?
I don't know. He's only 12.
Well, welcome back to our successful podcast. Would John Google?
Oh yeah, that's right. Stop it.
No, I knew that. I don't know how old he is now.
You can't skateboard.
No, I can't. But I knew that the first person who did a 1080 was 12.
I forgot your interest is skateboarding. Mine's optometry, and John's is planes. Right.
I don't even like planes.
I'd like to be able to cure all speech impediments, because speech impediments are really bad.
I'm gonna help you. I haven't decided this question either way. I've not decided any of them for once. But a speech impediment, because I know you like to take the piss, doesn't include any regional accents, including the Scouse one. I'm just giving you a heads up, because I get a lot of shit at work because I take the piss out of Scousers, but I defend Scousers to people outside of work. It's just funny to watch them get all riled up and dolphiny.
Hey.
So, do continue. Sorry, I was trying to be helpful.
I was just going to say that speech impediments are awful. They can be quite debilitating for people and really knock their confidence and prevent them from going on to achieve things that they could have done, you know?
Like having a load of TV shows about restaurants and hotels rather than destroying children's dinners.
Yeah. Or delivering a speech on national radio during time of global conflict when the world's end is potentially in sight.
Who's this?
The Lost King.
Is this King George?
Different one.
Is it Edward?
King George II.
Yeah, different King George.
Different George.
Okay.
This week sponsored by King George.
The best pub in Shrewsbury. I'm making that up, I don't know. It's nice you want to help people, John. But think of all the language therapists you'd be doing out of a job. You turn up, stick your finger around someone's mouth, and bam, they've got no lisp. That's very kind of you for doing that.
You don't have to put your finger in their mouth. You just have to touch them.
Then what are we saying that John's magic? He's not rearranging people's vocal cords and tongue replacement with his finger. He just magically heals people like baby Jesus.
I said by touch. It's a hypothetical question show, and I've watched you skateboard, and you fell down 2 sets of stairs. The only time I remember you doing it. Okay,
I never attempted stairs.
You don't remember it happening. The rest of us do. That's fine. I'm just saying we're not exactly asking questions to keep us within our boundaries of what we're able to accomplish.
I think I remember falling down 2 flights of stairs.
Would you?
Yeah?
I mean, there's plenty of people that fall down high things and don't remember them.
If you could get off your high horse and not hurt yourself on the way down, you'd remember that.
I never fell down 2 flights of stairs.
Neither have I.
Well, I might have done, I don't remember. Either way, you can't pull a 900 and you're definitely the world's best skateboarder.
Are we saying that my current level of skating?
You're as close to being the world's best skateboarder as John is at being able to cure speech impediments. Because John could become a speech therapist, and he's as close to that as you are being the world's best skateboarder. So,
are you saying that I'm the world's best skateboarder? Not you're going to magically give me powers to become the world's best skateboarder, but me being able to do an ollie and stay on the board is the best skateboarding in the world, and everyone else is somehow worse than me. No one else in the world has even seen a skateboard now.
No, like, I'm saying you'll surpass them and consistently surpass them. Like, no one can quite keep up with you. That's what I'm saying for you. This is kind of like all these questions in my head. I presume that tomorrow morning when you wake up, that's when it happens.
Right, so tomorrow morning when John wakes up and he goes around inappropriately touching people in the mouth.
Well, he doesn't have to touch them in the mouth.
In my world, he does.
Right, okay, well, in your world, you need to see a therapist.
Not a speech therapist, because John's going to inappropriately touch me and it's going to be fine. The thing is, I wouldn't want to be touching people and curing speech impediments, because if I became famous for it, people would try and set me up with Jonathan Ross. And he's done perfectly well not being able to pronounce R's properly. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It adds to his character. Yes, sure, he goes on 8 out of 10 cats and they take the mick out of him for it. But he soldiers on. He's made a perfectly good career for him, despite having an ever so mild handicap. I think he's done incredibly well. I think there are many people that need a little bit of help, but to be cured overnight is just giving them something that possibly could teach them a life lesson, and it's taking away an experience that they might be galvanised by overcoming something, taking away a sense of achievement for them by taking an easy option. I know I can't really say that because I'm going to be able to do a 900 on a mini ramp down the Stukely Meadows because I'm the world's best skateboarder, but that's besides the point.
I'm falling back into the camp of arguing, and I keep forgetting that that's not what I'm here to do. So I will just listen to John's counter argument before I decide.
I mean, I think I would be selective in my choices. You know, someone like Jonathan Ross doesn't need a cure, doesn't want a cure. He's got a speech impediment, but as you say, he's gotten through it. I would use my powers for good by going to those who have really been debilitated. You know, there's a lot of people in the world. I can't cure everyone. Not with my current schedule. I'm gonna really focus.
So you wouldn't take it full time?
Last week I'm too rich. This week I'm too busy.
I'm gonna really selectively focus on those who, you know, have
the biggest checkbooks, John.
No, whose confidence has been shattered by their speech impediment. People who no longer go outside because they're too scared what people are going to think of them. Just because they got a stammer, just because they can't get their words out. You know, those people have been truly tested, and I'm gonna help them I think it's going to revitalize their life. You know.
I agree that's quite a nice sentiment, but just think of the joys a McTwist brings to children everywhere. It inspires the nation.
Isn't McTwist like an ice cream?
No, it's a twister. John, I'm afraid you're just not down with the kids. When I go on my skateboarding world tour, I will connect to the masses and I will show people that it doesn't matter who you are or where you've come from. I could even have people with speech impediments joining in my mystery tour of skateboarding and believing that they could be the next me.
Just out of curiosity, and this is kind of how I'm going to call it, John, you've used McTwist and 900 a lot, but I haven't heard any more. So I'm going to
fakies, dark slides, varials, pop shove-its.
Okay, I was going to ask for 5. That's fine. Okay. John, I need to know 3 speech impediments. Are you eating a bowl of shreddies?
No.
Bowl of chili.
No, an orange. And
didn't you just have dinner?
Yeah, this is my dessert.
An orange
I just
for
had
dessert.
I just had a segment
Are
of
you
orange
poor?
that had 8 pips in one segment.
Three speech impediments. Whenever you're ready.
Stammer,
Yeah.
the one where you can't say ours, and
I mean, I want to call him out, John, if you can help me, but I don't know what it's called either. I know it's where you've got a short tongue.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know the names of any more speech impediments.
You didn't even say lisp.
Yeah, lisp is one.
Stammer, stutter, lisp. What about being mute? Is that a speech impediment?
I mean, I guess it is technically.
What about those people that have had some sort of throat problem and they've got to put those little tubes up to the neck?
No, that's not a speech impediment. We're not trying to save the world here, John.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy for me to decide. John wins.
Yes.
Yeah.
John with the skateboarding wins.
Oh.
Yes. Mother truckers. Trucks.
I'm gonna base it, and it's kind of a 1 and then 1.1. Like they're 2 points, but they kind of feed into each other. 1 is because John was eating an orange and wasn't paying attention to the question. But 2, I think that the reason, like,
did I have you at skateboard mystery tour?
To be fair, I kind of all knew the things you were going to say. I was more interested, like, I was on your side, if that makes sense, with the question. Or rather, sorry, I was on John's side because that's more positive. But he didn't bring up enough positive reasons for what he could do with his powers. And I think that's because he was eating the orange.
I think it's because he doesn't want to win, so he doesn't have to ask questions again. If he starts 1-0 down, he's...
Oh, but there's all to play for. But I don't mind people drinking, but let's not eat on the podcast. People don't want to hear you chewing. And 8 pips. I mean, I thought you were poor for eating an orange for dessert, but such a low quality orange that was clearly grown in Britain.
Somewhere near Wolverhampton.
Yeah. Well, a specifically not quite big but big enough place to nominate. Amazing. You're very good at your geography, John. And that's why you win, because you'll do a big town, small city tour with your skateboarding skills. Whereas
Probably go to Huddersfield, but I probably wouldn't be welcome back. John
would cure all of the speech impediments on up to Zone 3 in London.
If he had a particularly slack afternoon.
He's not paying any extra money for that extra travel card zone.
Wow.
You're not denying it.
No, and he's not. If you'd wish that John would stop eating fruit while recording the podcast, please tweet at me. Would J rather? Would J rather? I keep saying would John rather, but it's would J rather.
You can contact me by fortune cookie.
How would that work exactly?
Well, you find what Chinese John used, and you insert a fortune cookie into his bag.
On Wednesday, I will get a Chinese, and if you can work out how to get me a fortune cookie, I will open it.
Okay.
And if you want to contact me via conventional media, either Instagram, Facebook, because Matt's given you my details. If you time travel to last week's episode and he gave him to you, I can't remember how that works. Or just Twitter. Twitter's fine. I'm John Would Rather. That's Jon Would Rather. No H's, because I'm a bit of a Red Dwarf fan, so I cut the H out of my name and stick it on my son's forehead.
Very nice. That's my favourite you've done so far. I fully expect it to be a picture on your Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Very, very, I wouldn't say shortly, because we record these episodes a bit ahead of time, but just soon enough so that I can see them, because I don't have Instagram. But I'd like to see your dwarf walking around with your son on his head. That's not what I meant to say. But yeah, I'd like to see your dwarf walking around with your son on his head.
Ha!
Perfect English.
Perfect English. So, question 2. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Would you rather that all shoes you ever bought fit you perfectly, or you never had to hoover again?
I'm finding this difficult because they're both such damn good options.
This is my favourite question I've ever come up with, by the way.
I'm gonna go with every shoe that I ever bought just always fit perfectly, because there's something very frustrating about buying amazing new shoes that you want to show off to everybody and then not being able to show them off to anyone because you have to spend a few days putting them on at home, wearing them in. Because if you went out for a day in those brand new shoes, your feet are going to be in agony by the time you get home. Absolute agony. It might just, anyone who's gone out and bought a hard leather shoe, a really beautiful leather, the finest that money can buy, will know the pain that will be caused by walking in them. Once you get in, once they're sort of worn in, they're great, but that's a lot of time I've got to waste, and time is money.
I'm going to go with the time is money thing, and I'm going to say never hoovering again. Think of all the, the crazy Bitcoin e-currency type stuff I could be researching and making, but I just got to spend so long hoovering. All the many rooms in my house. I just got to hoover. Just got to hoover all the time. You know what I mean? And because I don't have to hoover, I've got all the time in the world to break in my new shoes. And wearing safety boots for the last decade has hardened my feet, so it doesn't really bother me that much breaking in new shoes. And I'm not fancy, so I don't buy the finest of fine leather shoes. I wear a lot of Vans, and they're made of canvas, and my feet are stronger than them. So it doesn't affect me that much, the shoe situation. So yeah. Oh, and think of all the trees you don't have to burn to produce energy and power to run the Hoover that I'm not using because I don't have to.
I don't want it to sound like I'm taking sides already, because you've still got plenty of time. But I did try to be very careful with how I worded it. All shoes fitting perfectly. One of the things is when you just see any pair of shoes, the most frustrating thing for me is when you walk into a shop. Oh, have you got these in a size 9? Yes, my feet have shrank 2 sizes in the last 5 years. Everybody laugh. And they go, oh no, we've only got this in an 8. You could just buy it in an 8 because they'd fit.
So you'd condone buying children's shoes because they'd somehow fit your feet and you wouldn't pay VAT on them?
Yeah.
Oh, 20% cheaper shoes.
Wait, do you not... Wait. Hold, do you not pay VAT on kids' shoes?
Or clothes.
Why?
Because they're children.
So?
It's necessary to clothe children, isn't it? Because they don't earn their own wages. If you want to go out and buy yourself a new tank top because it looks nice, that's a luxury. Clothing children is a necessity.
I see more naked children in public than I do adults.
See, that's the problem, is because people don't have the money to clothe them.
Don't take that in the wrong context. I'm just saying the amount of times you see kids like running around like not wearing trousers, not wearing a shirt or whatever.
It's because the parents are really hard up, and even saving 20%, putting food in the plates, putting clothes on the children is very hard work.
Right, okay, so it's a legal thing, it's not necessarily a decency thing.
Oh, God, no. It doesn't matter how well-off your parents are, kids are still going to get naked and be stupid.
Fair enough.
Ingredients for food is also VAT free.
What, kids' food's VAT free?
Just all food. But
all
not
food.
If it's been prepared. Not if it's hot.
Yeah, no, I knew that. Yeah. So here's a question. You both have wives.
Where are you going with this?
No, I'm very aware, if I've not mentioned it before on the podcast. If I've not mentioned it before on the podcast.
It does sound like we drink heavily before we record.
Some people do tend to think that I'm quite sexist. I'm not. I just believe in equality for everything. But you've both got wives, so what's the hoovering schedule in your houses? What's the split?
I do 100% of it.
Ah,
I was going to say I do about 90% of it.
Before we get any further down this rabbit hole, can I just express my dissatisfaction with it being called hoovering? Because I've got a Dyson.
so vacuuming.
Yeah.
Suctioning? Sucking?
Never losing suction.
So I've got to admit something, and it's probably disgusting, but I rent a room in a house, and I will be moving out shortly to move in with my lovely, but I moved in last August, and I have never once hoovered. Never hoovered this room. Unless you spill something. I think of carpets like jeans. Unless you spill something on it, they're good, right?
Depends what colour it is.
Yeah, white jeans aren't,
I mean, I don't tend to wear white jeans. It's a dark carpet.
You can get away with dark carpets a lot longer.
I've got a small kitchen, so I tend to bake on my bedroom floor as well. So if I drop any flour on the floor, I just rub it in and it's gone.
So all the grime and stuff goes onto the carpet to make it darker. Then you rub flour into it to make it lighter.
It's working. Don't get me wrong, if I broke a glass or I spilled some sand, I'd hoover up. But
basically dropping the same thing in two different forms onto your carpet.
Exactly.
Do you know what might have made your lovely change her mind about living with you?
What?
You admitting that you never vacuum.
Yeah, but
you don't live on the ground floor, do you?
No, look, you're making it unfair because the only way for me to make me sound better is to call her out and make her sound worse. So I'm not going to do that. So.
No, are you on the first floor or ground floor?
First floor.
That's probably why you don't have ants.
Yeah, I don't have ants. But
Yes.
I mean, it makes sense that I don't understand why you wouldn't want to give up hoovering. You've got a kid.
Because I'm assuming someone else is going to do the hoovering for me.
Oh no, you said never hoover again. Yeah, so that makes Okay. Oh damn.
Oh no, it was just I was rather partial to both of them. It's just I came down on the side of shoes. But not having to vacuum again would be awesome. I'm not going to deny that.
I'd wear clogs if you buy me a Roomba. Just saying.
That was it. I got confused because I thought John would call for the shoes straight away because
we do know I love a shoe.
You do love a shoe. I remember many conversations with you and my uni friends, or just you talking at me while I was drinking, so I didn't mind what anyone was saying because I had a drink in my hand, showing me all of your new shoes.
Yeah, I'm married and have a child. That doesn't happen anymore. I remember those days fondly. Oh.
I can't wait until your son's old enough that I can tell him, your daddy told me, and I've got it recorded, he prefers shoes to you.
If I'm doing my job right, he'll find out from the horse's mouth first.
He's going to go up, wake him up from bed right now and tell him.
That'd be an awful episode of like CSI. It's like, he's got lacerations to his cheek. How did that happen? He beat him with the shoes he once loved.
I don't know if I want to win this one now. Because it feels like if I'd have chosen being able to wear any shoes, it would have confirmed my love for shoes more than the love for my son.
Yeah, but that means that if you lose, then choosing the shoes is better. So therefore, you should love shoes better. Therefore, you don't love your son. So now you have to win.
Who wants to hoover? Nobody. I'd wear clogs if you bought me a Roomba. Just saying. Just putting that out there.
I think hoover's the thing as well. You always forget. Like me and my lovely, we were writing down what we need to buy when we're moving in together, and it was just like furniture. We're going to get a new bed. We're going to get this. And then right at the end, only because I've done it once before, I went, oh yeah, shit, we're going to need a hoover. And it was just like...
I've done it once before, hoover.
No, I've moved in with somebody of the opposite sex in a romantic way, just the two of us in the property. And it was just, hoover's just not exciting. Like, I don't like the idea of spending a lot of money on any item of furniture. I'd rather upcycle. I think it's just better. Furniture these days don't last, but I get that you need to have a brand new bed. I like the excitement of a sofa's kind of there, but what I don't get the excitement, and I've only ever seen a female, because I'm sexist obviously, but I've only ever seen a female get excited about buying a Hoover. Like, it's a necessity.
You've never gone shopping with me then. But that's true. A Hoover is utilitarian and is boring. So this is why I get excited over shoes that aren't even comfortable, because I hate hoovering that much that I'd wear painful shoes and look good doing it on my lovely hoovered floors.
Yeah, I've come to my decision. And remember, it's would you rather, because you're not going to like this, but I'd rather never hoover.
You can't see it. I'm pumping the fist. I'm
it-
going for a whitewash this week.
It's got nothing to do with the fact that I haven't hoovered out of necessity. I'm not a fan of hoovering, but I hoover quite a lot of work just because I want everything to look nice. But I think if every shoe fit perfectly, it would take away from that pair of shoes, your comfy pair of shoes. You'd have no need for slippers anymore, but you could have any pair of shoes you wanted, and
Wouldn't that be good?
It would take the challenge away.
the choice would be too vast. Like every time I go out for a pair of shoes, I'll search online. I'll occasionally pop to town, even though shopping's online these days. But I'll just spend time and I'll find it, and that's the pair. They fit. They look what I want. It's just there. Whereas if there's so many available, I would either have too many shoes, like some stupid mumble rapper and Pimp My Ride. I'm aware mumble rappers and Pimp My Ride are in different eras, but still. Or I just have a load of shoes that I was like meh about. Do you know what I mean?
I'd have genie shoes.
I'd have clean floors. I'm not saying you're leaving a sty, John, but if I come round and your floor isn't spotless and you're wearing genie shoes, I'd be like, oh, okay, I can see where your time and effort goes. Should we get takeout? No, it's fine, I'll cook. No, we'll get takeout, it's fine.
Watch it, you're dicing with death there.
Oh, very nice.
Ooh.
Now that I've suddenly realised that when you and I, John, get into a big discussion and John goes silent, it's not because he's not there anymore, it's because he's desperately thinking of a pun to end the section with. So next time it happens, we just need to call him out and engage him in the conversation.
I tried to, but I ended up talking to you about it.
No.
This time round it was because my connection cut out. I couldn't hear anything, so I couldn't contribute.
Oh, well, at least it'll be a nice surprise for you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's happened the last couple of weeks. I think my Skype updated, and instead of it going roboty, it just cuts out.
Oh, good. Okay, time for question 3. Are we ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you rather be above average at something impressive or no? Would you rather be above average at something menial or below average at something impressive? So, as an example, be a below average guitar soloist or an above average toothbrusher.
I mean, there's nothing more satisfying than getting those pearly whites white. So I'm going to go with being above average at something menial. I'd like to be really good at answering would you rather questions. On a week by week basis, it's probably the thing that I fall short at the most.
We're still
I try. And
we're
if
still
I could be good at it, it would really, really improve my life.
we're still waiting for the poll just to see where you stand, but okay.
I'd rather be below average at something awesome, because not everyone tries something awesome, so they'll never know if they're better than me or not at it. For example, not everyone's going to skydive. If I'm below average, I may end up with a sprained ankle on my landing, but how many people have actually skydived? Yeah, there's going to be some people that try it first time that are better than me, but yeah, no, they'll never know. There's a lot of awesome things that people never go and have a crack at. But I'm adventurous. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to give it a shot. I may not be the greatest at it. I may not even be like the okayest at it. But I'm going to do something awesome. It's going to be worth a laugh. And even if I end up as the butt of jokes, at least I've been out there. At least I've tried.
Very good point. So we're going with answering would you rather questions against skydiving.
For example.
Those are good examples. Does it have to just? Are we having to specify that we're just doing one menial thing?
No. Like list them off for me. Give me. Argue your case as best your ability over the next 5 minutes, and.
I mean, one of the other things that I'd like to be really good at would be origami with pound notes.
Pound notes?
Well, pounds. 5,
Sterling.
10, 15.
Sterling.
Notes to the equivalent of a multiple of £5. Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to have a £15 note. Because I can make a T-shirt with an old £5 note, and that used to be a really good conversation starter when you meet people.
No, it's not, because the conversation starts exactly this. How the fuck are you supposed to pay with that?
Well, the problem is now that
everyone puts their money in when they're paying for the curry, and you produce that, and everyone goes, "What the fuck have you done that for?"
Sorry, sir, we don't accept shirts.
You're taking the shirt off my back. The problem is now is this polymer money that's plastic.
Doesn't bend well, does it?
Well, it does bend, but it just goes back. So if I'm going to go back to being able to, I'd like to be able to do that again. And I think you'd have to be really, really good at that origami to make the plastic money stay in a shape. Maybe I'd come up with some technique. Maybe I'd carry around a pot of glue or something. But I'd be really impressive at it.
Or a lighter. Just melt the fold. Just a little bit.
And then it's useless as money because it's doubled on itself and stuck there forever.
Yeah, but by the time the barmaid has unfolded it, he's long gone. He's off fighting vigilante crime.
That's not menial. That's awesome. I'd be a below average vigilante. That'd be cool. What did you do? Well, I sort of stopped a bank robber for about 20 minutes. What do you mean?
You'd be Kick-Ass at the beginning of Kick-Ass.
Well, I handcuffed myself to him for a bit, and then he broke my wrist and struggled free. But then the police did catch him because he was the only guy down A&E with marks on his arm from dragging a dead weight attached to him via handcuffs.
And a big bag that had swag written on it.
Exactly. Another point I'd like to make is I'm more than happy to admit I'm a below average surfer. I do not surf anywhere near as often as I'd like to. I don't own anything like a wetsuit or a board, but when I've rented it out and I've given it a go, I can stand up. I can actually catch the wave and ride it. I don't care. I have fun. I don't care if I'm never going to be like Kelly Slater. I really don't. I have fun doing it, and that's what matters to me. I think surfing's awesome, and I'd love to do it a lot more.
What matters to me is being the person that knows the answer to the crossword question when somebody's got a really difficult one and they ask, what's brown and sticky and has 12 letters? And you go, what the fuck? If I knew the answers to all of those, that would be brilliant.
I love how your mind works, and you couldn't think of a clue and a direction and a number of letters all at the same time. So you went with a random direction, a random amount of numbers, and then half of a joke for children.
The answer is lots of sticks. Both of you counting
No,
out right
it's
now.
11. That's 11. It's 11. And also, John, as we discussed earlier, you could be that guy who gets his surfboard out of the over the top compartment, and someone can go, You look like Kelly Slater. You're older than Kelly Slater. And you can go, yeah. And then just walk away because you're not Kelly Slater.
Kelly Slater's got slightly less hair than me.
I could be that guy that can get the surfboard down from the high rack and not ding it on the way out of the bus. Because that was endlessly frustrating if you ding your surfboard.
I put my surfboard in a surfboard bag because I know that I'm a bit clumsy sometimes.
Oh, even in a bag you can ding it.
Hard case.
I'm going to give you both a clue. I have no idea what you're talking about when it comes to any sort of surfing. I tried once, didn't work. So, dinging your surfboard on a bus is just. It sounds like an old wives' tale. It's like, yeah, you read about him. He dings his surfboard on a bus, if you know what I mean.
I'd also like to be that guy that can come up with the phrase, the weird phrases like old wives' tales. Like, oh, it's madder than a cart full of monkeys. And just have loads of those just rolling off the tongue.
He's braver than a bronze zebra.
Yeah, just those sorts of things.
I think to be able to do that, you need to be like from a southern state in America.
John, you're way too Middle England for that.
You've got me blushing more than a porcupine in a cornfield.
Yeah, that sort of thing, but with it.
You got me shaking more
sense.
than a trailer park in a hurricane.
Yeah, see, I could be really good at that, and I could be coming up with loads of them, but I can't because I'm not that good. If I was better at it, then it'd be great. This would be a great podcast.
Okay.
We'd have stuff to talk about.
Okay, the wheels coming to a stop. Place your bets, please. Place your bets. What are you putting your chips on, and I'll make my decision.
I'm putting my chips on. I'm going to do something cool that makes me happy. I'm not bothered about being the best. I'm just bothered about having a good time.
No, I mean specifically.
I'd put all my chips on being good at poker.
But winning lots of money in poker is awesome, so that's my thing.
Yeah.
I'd get a good third.
Well, no, because you'd be below average at poker, so therefore you wouldn't win many chips. So
I get fourth all the time. If there's 6 people.
Pick something, and I'll make my decision. You both made many examples, so.
I'd be really good at painting.
Painting walls or painting pictures? Painting pictures is surely something to be good at. So it must be walls.
Yeah, walls.
Okay, so you'd be really good at painting, or like being a painter decorator. And John, would you want to be?
I'd be below average at paintball because that's good fun. I may not kill anyone. I might get shot once or twice, but running around through the woods screaming my head off in a jumpsuit with a weapon sounds fun.
You definitely panicked and heard somebody say the word paint, didn't you?
I was trying to think of something to do with paint, and I was like, well, no, because if I'm a shit artist, no one's ever going to buy my artwork, and even if I die, I'm still not going to be
Have
selling.
you seen modern art?
Yeah, but the thing is, I try and be good. I try and be a good modern artist, and they'll be like, a bit nouveau riche, isn't it? Modern classics gone away.
It's a bit unfair, but I'm going to give you a clue. If you're going to go with paintballing, you're going to lose. So, do you want to have one more go?
I'd have fun. I don't mind.
No. I mean, you're going to lose this question because I don't see why being bad.
Do you not like paintballing?
I like paintballing. I don't like being bad at paintballing. I don't know anybody who likes being bad at paintballing because not being bad at paintballing means.
I want to be bad. I'm just not going to be the best. You'd be below average.
You'd be below average. So if there's 10 people, you'd be like the 4th best, which means you're going to get hit a lot.
Matt, right. Do you want to paint a wall with John, or do you want to come paintballing with me? What would you want to spend your Sunday afternoon doing? Painting a wall with a very good painter, who masks his lines perfectly.
That's not what the question is, because he's going to get paid, and he's going to get paid good amounts to do it, and you're going to pay out a fair amount of money to just get hit in the face and chest by paintballs. Would you really go to paintballing every single week if you knew that all you were going to do was get hit by paintballs?
If it meant I didn't have to paint the house, yes. I'd rather do something awesome and give it a go than do something dull and boring.
But
it's only dull and boring because you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, he'd get paid.
I'm really good at it.
He'd get paid for it. It'd be his job versus your hobby. You're bad at your hobby. He's good at his job.
I'd paint a big lizard on one of the walls.
I'd shoot it with my paintball gun because I'd obviously miss and I'd ruin your work. Sorry, mate.
Painting the lizard wins. I gave you an opportunity to change. I would not rather go and get shot by paintballs than get paid to do something I'm good at. I think you could have won. There's so many things that you could be below average at. Like you had it at the start, but just towards the end you just started to dwindle out. Even after poor John was distracted by his drunken wife stumbling home. She's probably going to beat him up later.
I don't think it mattered what I said. You didn't like anything I came up with. Surfing? Nah.
I didn't.
You can take your bus digging elsewhere, boys.
I think you'll find that Winner John said digging buses, and you both came up with surfing. I liked the skydiving thing. It was a strong start. I was like, oh, here we go. And then it just petered out slowly. But anyway,
there's a lot of things that I think if you're below average you might die, so I was trying to choose something that isn't terminal if you're not great at it.
I mean,
still wanting to be adventurous.
Yeah, but okay, anyway, so yeah, John wins. So
I didn't actually want to physically shoot myself in the foot with the argument. Yeah, let's go clay pigeon shooting.
But you're below average at paintballing, so you might actually shoot yourself in the foot.
But it's just a paintball, it's fine. You're not going to lose a toe.
So I lost count. Who's that asking questions?
It's me again.
Next time?
It's me again.
Oh, did you win the first two? Oh yeah, of course you did. I lost count because of things.
I was trying to go for a whitewash, but somehow I got beaten by painting a wall.
A whitewash paint wall.
I've got to reevaluate my life if painting a wall.
Just like our podcast is like watching paint dry. That's it for this week. I need to go. I've got work early in the morning and I've still got to edit. That's all I've got to say. Anything to add or?
When I said that I wanted to paint walls, I thought in my head I had a canvas and I was painting a wall on the canvas.
Like you were painting an art piece like the Mona Lisa, but of like a brick wall.
Yeah.
Wow.
I lost to that. Can you see what you've done, Matt? Well done.
I mean, either way, you won the week, but
I don't feel that there are any winners on this podcast anymore.
No, I sometimes look back on that day where I asked you both if you'd like to join me in starting this venture, and I wonder what I was thinking. And most of the time, I've picked two very, very good people to do this with. And other times, like after that statement, I get cold on my insides, and I start to weep uncontrollably, and I don't know why. This has been with John Rather, and John thought when I said painting a wall, it was physically painting a picture of a wall.
I mean, who's the moron? Me who thought that, or you that chose it as the winner? Something to dwell on.
This is like the US election and Brexit in one. There are no winners.
There's only losers this week, so neither of them two get to do the usual goodbye. I'm just going to cut it off here. Please come back next week. I promise I'll have a chat with them between episodes. This has been Would John Rather. Goodbye.
Sorry.
I'm not sorry.
John, what have you done?
Is that really what you thought?
Well, initially, I obviously worked it out.